Okay,
that's
so
it.
we're here to talk about how the framers and the early Americans, which were once called, which were called the colonists, but then when they became independent, were Americans. How they used the 7 habits to create a government.
So they were being proactive. Go ahead.
By rewriting the articles because they were not working. You want to say something?
Yes, they were not working, so it was being proactive to rewrite the articles.
Because they were now the Articles of Confederation were just it didn't give the government enough power to be a government, and then all the states were being poor and everyone was being thrown in jail for and they started Shays Rebellion, which could have been a really big deal.
Yeah, a big deal.
Okay, so that's also begin with the end in mind, right?
That's also for beginning the end in mind.
And it's because they thought, okay, so if we keep on doing these articles, the states will want to become independent. They want to break away. They're going to want to break away from this new country, and that won't be good. And that'll be very hard because there'll probably be another war to prevent that, and they just suffered war, and also.
We're recording.
They knew that if they kept on doing these articles too, they would also, everyone would end up in jail because everyone would be able to pay their taxes.
Everyone would not be able to pay their taxes, and everyone would be
there was no taxes, their rent.
And going bankrupt and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they were putting first things first. The framers were putting first things first by separating Congress. So they gave the huge
the Senate and the House of Representatives.
So they gave the Senate to like the smaller states that are not as big and
because
they weren't as big.
They put the Senate so that the smaller states would get what they want, and the House of Representatives made make the big guys get what they want.
Yeah,
but
the big guys, the big states like Virginia, and Virginia got the House of Representatives, and what that was actually fair because. Excuse me.
About
so they before when we first read they might have thought, well, why do the small states get the Senate and we don't get anything? Well, then they get the House of Representatives, and what they have to do is if the small states, the Senate or the small states want to do a law that it go through theirs, the Senate, and then it has to go through the House of Representatives. If it goes to the House of Representatives, it's actually a law if the president doesn't veto it.
And this was doing first things first, because before setting up the Congress, they needed to get the thing straight, right? Because they could just not agree on something to separate to like stop the tension in between the big states and the small states. So what's the next one? Synergize. So
the framers synergized when they were coming up with the laws, and they synergized because one brain is better than 22 brains is better than one. So they came out with a bunch more people, and they thought of well, you know what? The small state should have the Senate, and the big state should have the House of Representatives.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, but I want to add on too. I think that since the first colonists got to America, they were all synergizing because they came to this land that they knew nothing about. They thought they were in Asia. They were trying to get somewhere, but they hit a rock in the path.
Okay.
They just got hit there. They just stopped there, and they had to create this new land. They had to create like a new, kind of a new government, new settlements, which then became like towns, and then became colonies, which then became states. And then they had to synergize to create a government, to create everything in America.
Yes, to create mostly everything. One person created a government. That would be super, super hard. If
it'd be impossible.
Yes,
you can't do a government with one person.
So, that wraps up our conversation. Bye.